even appears to be in a cell embedded in the ground, jutting out. It looks like it's perhaps from an old 23rd century bird of prey. It looks like there was some sort of festival or public event going on at the time of the attack. Overturned tables, scattered stools and felled posts indicate a major battle or a stampede of panicked people trying desperately to escape from the chaos and confusion. Analysing this reveals that it was created by Romulan plasma bombardment. But why here on the outskirts of town? Perhaps it was to herd them into the centre, to keep them all contained. Back at the strange device, we note its muted screeching signal, and Temet theorises it's a beacon.
The youngest of our kind rely on stories to know what our people were like before. Strong, secretive, warlike. We were feared. We were powerful. Then, everything changed. 22 years ago, the star of the Hobus system went supernova. The resulting explosion traveled through subspace to hit Romulus and Remus, our homeworlds. No one could have predicted that would happen, and no one could have stopped it. Millions died. Those who survived were scattered across dozens of worlds. One day we were citizens of one of the greatest powers of the galaxy, and the next, we were just trying to survive. Every day was a struggle if you weren't part of the militant and oppressive Tal Shiar, or ruling everything from on high like Empress Sela. For ordinary Romulans, military victories don't mean much when you're hungry. Life goes on. The Klingons and Starfleet are at one another's throats, but battles light years away don't affect us much. The Tal Shiar are the more immediate threat. They're rebuilding the Empire by force, and pressing anyone they think can help into service. But even they don't seem to know we're here. We've put down roots and found friends. Today we'll celebrate what we've created. With hard work and some good fortune, true Romulans will once again rise to be a power in the galaxy. The first step on that path begins here.
What a wonderful morning. I sure hope nothing bad happens today. In the beginning of the Romulan Republic campaign, we take on the role of a local from Virinat, acting as a de facto security officer for the colony and preparing for tonight's festival. We start by speaking to Tuvan Kev, a colleague here on Virinat.
There you are. The security chief was looking for you earlier. She said there's trouble at the vineyard. Avrak's been filing reports all night about Kelids chewing at the vines. He's really worked up.
Kelids are large insects kept for agriculture. They shouldn't be anywhere near the vineyard.
Something must have annoyed them. It's not typical Kelid behavior. With the big celebration tonight, I think everyone's a little overexcited. Even the bugs. You should listen to one of Avrak's messages before you head out there.
We can find these messages at the local terminal.
Please tell me you'll help me. The Kelids are in the vineyard chewing through the irrigation pipes, and everyone says they're too busy getting ready for the big party to come and do something about it. There won't be any party if everyone's knee-deep in water by nightfall. Get over here and help me fix this.
We could end the messages there and leave now to help, but it seems Avrak has left more than one. The next one was sent 5 minutes later.
When are you coming over here? This is getting ridiculous. Nobody appreciates me around here. No one. They think these crops just grow without any help from anyone. Tending these vines is a lot of work. No one says thank you. No one pats me in the back. They just keep asking for more. God, look, just get over here and take care of the Kelids, all right? And maybe say thank you for all the work I do to keep these vineyards in shape.
Wow, Avrak, okay. 5 minutes after that, he messages again.
It's me again. Ignore the other message I sent. I lost my temper. I'm sorry. Maybe that's why you're not here yet. I really could use your help, though. These Kelids are chewing through everything, and they won't stop. And no one here is even trying to help. They just keep bouncing me to other people. First to Tovar, then to Navala, then to you. What's next? Should I ask one of the kids? Just please come here soon. Thanks.
Curmudgeonly git, isn't he? Still, it is something we should look into. It could brighten up on today of all days.
If the Kelids are chewing up the vineyard, you should probably grab a pistol, just in case. I'd join you, but the chief has me looking into some odd comm chatter we picked up yesterday. We'll have to catch up later.
We don't have to go too far to find our disruptors, and we can take a few practice shots at some vases to test our skills. Let's show these chumps how it's done. Get on my level, scrub. We pass a farmhand and another one of our town militia who direct us to Avrak's farm. Before that, however, we can stop by the town storyteller to learn more about our Romulan heritage and Virinat itself.
Hey there, ready for the big festival? Working hard? Or maybe you have time to listen to a story or two?
Avrak can wait a little bit more. Let's hear of the origin of the Romulan people.
Almost 2,000 years ago, our people were Vulcans. At that time, Vulcan was a world of war, with constant struggles between the tribes. Serac changed that. He taught that peace came through logic. And if you ask me, not all Vulcans get that right. Serac said that people should master their emotions, not eliminate them. But not everyone on Vulcan wanted to give up love, or passion, or even anger. The Vulcans said, these people marched beneath the raptor's wings. Instead of fighting their own people, these Vulcans decided to leave in an event we call the Sundering. They boarded great colony ships and set out into unexplored space, looking for a home where they could live and feel as they wished. Eventually, those who marched beneath the raptor's wings found Romulus and Remus. They created an empire. Although we share a genetic bond with the Vulcans, we are our own people. Never forget that. Want to hear another story?
Hearing the tale of the Sundering from the Romulan perspective makes for an understandable approach. The Romulans chose exile over further bloodshed amid the Vulcans. But what of the Romulans now, after Hobus destroyed Romulus?
The destruction of Romulus was a terrible thing. When we lost our home and our loved ones, we lost our soul. The people who survived were scattered and leaderless. Survival was a daily struggle. There were some fights for control before Empress Sela took over, but I never paid much attention. That Taurus woman was never going to get far. Now Sela and the Tal Shiar are attempting to rebuild the strength of the Romulan Star Empire, but they do so with fear and oppression. Steer clear of them if you can. People like us should just try to stay out of the Tal Shiar's way. Life is more important than politics or power. There are a lot of Romulans who just wander from planet to planet because there's no place to call home anymore. We're lucky to have Virinat. This is a good place. A place to put down roots. Without that, we're just dust, scattered by the winds of fate. Do you want to hear another story?
So how was Virinat founded?
Virinat was a colony world. It used to be a big agricultural planet, growing food for the Empire. After Romulus was destroyed, thousands upon thousands of people flooded the planet. The old cities couldn't hold them all, and they were scared. They started fighting amongst themselves. One night, the cities burned. Most of the survivors left. A few hung on, scrapping old ships and using them as building materials. That's how the Maori found them, about 10 years ago. The Maori was the commander of an old warbird. Navala was his first officer, and Devex the chief engineer. They were wandering the sector, trying to find a new home. When they found Virinat, they decided to stay. Devex kept the old warbird functional, and he used it to make supply runs and bring back other Romulans who needed a home. Navala put herself in charge of security, and the Maori. He runs the whole colony now. Devex met Tovan Kev in a mining colony a few years back. I think it was 4 years ago. But then again, I didn't come here until 2 years ago, so this is not just information I've heard about secondhand. I actually have a question for you, if you don't want to hear another story first. When did you arrive here? I know we only have a few hundred people living here, but so many come and go that it's hard to keep track. I'm recording the stories of all the people that live here, you see. And I would love to start yours off with your arrival. Who knows? It could be something that becomes historical in a few years.
So we have a number of options that we can select. We can refuse to answer, saying that we'd rather keep that to ourselves. Try to build on our mystique.
Ah, the secretive type, are you? I'll find out your history one day. Just you wait. I think I've kept you for too long. You should get going. See you later.
We could say that we've been here for barely a year, in which case we're a new arrival that arrived after the colony was founded.
Barely a year? That's right, you're one of the newer folk. And you're already a security guard. Lucky you. We should definitely talk more about this over drinks tonight.
Or we could say Devex found us on one of his runs.
A Devex recruit? Fascinating. We've had some interesting characters come here thanks to him. We should definitely talk more about this over drinks tonight. I would love to know where Devex found you.
Or we could say we were part of the original crew that founded the colony.
One of the few that saw the Maori as a captain. We should definitely talk more about this over drinks tonight. I think I've kept you for too long. See you later.
Or we could say we'd already settled Virinat and you guys showed up to move in.
Oh, how did I not know that about you? Here I am telling you about the founding when you were already here. We should definitely talk more about this over drinks tonight.
I get the feeling she doesn't really care. Perhaps she just wants a drink. We can also ask her if we've seen Avrak around.
Avrak? You're in for a fun day. I'm glad I don't have to deal with him. Anyway, do you want to hear any stories?
I'm okay, Deval. I'm all storied out. So Virinat is one of many smaller colonies made up of the millions of displaced Romulans, and this one is not under any Star Empire jurisdiction. Most civilian Romulans live spread out on colonies like this one, though Virinat is surprisingly successful. Perhaps this is due in part to the fact that it has been known to the Romulan records since about 2156, and even had an Imperial presence on it around 2380, though seemingly gone now. And it may have even been a planet originally settled for a time during the exodus from Vulcan. We can see that this colony, however, is still in the process of being constructed. The salvaged hull of an old warbird sits above it all, disassembled. After all, why would we need to leave? There have been great strides to make this colony a home for Romulans everywhere, and today we will be celebrating our efforts with the tapping and plenty of Romulan ale. But before that we should see to Avrak. We find the farmlands and vineyards to the southwest of the square and can find Avrak berating two disheartened farmhands.
Finally? Which message do you... never mind that either. It's chaos here. I need some help. Normally we collect nectar from the local kelid insects. Something has driven them into a frenzy. They're chewing on our irrigation system and flooding the vineyard.
I'll see to repairing these pipes then.
Excellent. The broken pipes are obvious. They're the ones spraying water everywhere. Kelid shouldn't give you too much trouble. A few bursts from your pistol will take care of them.
The pipes are indeed easy enough to spot, and beneath each spout, a kelid chews vehemently on the line. We've got no choice but to ward off the frenzied creatures with some disruptor fire before we can fix the leak. 3 repairs, and we can report back.
The flooding has stopped, but if those kelids come back, they'll just break the pipes again. Something's making the insects go crazy. With bugs this size, that's a real problem. And Avala might be able to help if she's not goofing off again. She knows all about kelids. She's normally down by the greenhouse this time of day. Tell her to stop being lazy and keep these critters contained.
Well, I guess it's off to see Navala then, and I'll tell her you said that.
Good idea. Talk to Navala.
I bet she's just lounging around right now, not even thinking about all the damage being done to my vineyard. No one around here wants to put in a good day's work. Well, except for you.
Right. I'm gonna go. We travel around the perimeter of the vineyard and pass the Romulan Kelid keeper in full protective gear, trying to calm down some concerned onlookers. Past him is Navala, brandishing a disruptor rifle and keeping a watchful eye over an injured colleague, Ravarek. It appears the Kelids have attacked him.
Just in time. Did you talk with Avarak?
You said you were lazy.
He said that I'm what? Lazy? That I've been... Ugh! He's just trying to make me look bad so he can get a promotion. Oh, that's so old-fashioned. Let me tell you what's actually happening. The Kelids are going crazy. I've been working all day to keep them out of the residential areas. This aggressive behavior is new, and we need to figure out what's causing it. That means gathering samples from some of these creatures.
That is something we can do. We'll have to kill an insect to bring back a sample, but we shouldn't have too much trouble here. They're not overly aggressive, though clearly they are acting unpredictably. We need to get the hive back under our control so we can continue to harvest their honey. You may have to take out several of the creatures until you find one with an adequate sample, but it shouldn't take too long. Just don't go in too deep and shoot them all, and you'll be fine.
This metal has some kind of fungus growing on it that's similar to the spores we found on some of the Kelid carapaces.
We need an astromycologist.
Might explain their behavior, but how are they getting infected in the first place? Also, the flying Kelids have never come out of the cavern before. This is so strange.
Then there's probably something in the cavern.
You're right. The source of the infection could be somewhere inside the cavern. Head over there and see if you can find out what's aggravating the nest. And be careful.
As long as we don't get too close, don't linger, and are quick about the whole thing, we can run past all the Kelids to the nest. Inside, most of the insects remain wary, but don't attack. Good, I'd hate to have to splatter more than is necessary, but if they do strike, we will have to use the disruptor on them. The cavern is bathed in a blue glow from the Kelid eggs, and they scurry around the hive walls, floor, and descend from the ceiling. We pass, mostly unmolested, and can pass several constructions designed to monitor and regulate the colony. Just out of sight of the entrance, we see the first signs of trouble. Dead Kelids litter the floor, and we can catch a glimpse of a scurrying form that differs from our kept bugs. Following it in, we find more of these green critters, and they appear to be artificial, perhaps metallic in nature. They go down in a single shot, however, so we take a couple of them out. This is likely the source of the Kelid's agitation, some form of invasive probe? Revealed from behind the rock, we spot a strange device, and this one is guarded by a floating and shielded drone of unknown design. It attacks us, so we defend ourselves. There are no live Kelids near this drone, so it's not just us it's been attacking, it seems. Examining the device, we manage to shut it down easily enough and report back to Navala.
A strange machine and some weird drone things? That is troubling. Someone's been in there. We'll have to let the Maori know about this. It's good you disabled the device, though. Maybe now the Kelids will calm down. I took a look at those biological samples while you were gone, but I can't do much more than a basic tricorder scan. It's just not my area. Devex might be able to help. He was an engineer in the Romulan military before the homeworld was destroyed. Now he's helping us with our water supply and anything else that takes more specialized knowledge. You should talk to him.
Strange that no one saw someone place that device there. Perhaps the drones went in first, then it was constructed by them? That would have been harder to spot. And it must have been placed last night, though, as that's when the Kelids started acting up. We can find Devex back from the direction we came, people coming and going from him as he helps out here and there.
What do you need with an old space hound like me?
We show him the sample we found from earlier.
I have an idea of what this might be. Maybe. I saw something like this once before, when I was out beyond the Eridon belt. We responded to a distress call from a mining outpost. When we got there, all the people were just gone, vanished without a trace. The only things we found were a strange beacon and some odd spore samples. These look very similar.
Depending on our background, we can proceed to analyse the sample in accordance with our expertise. Veruna here is a scientist at heart, so we choose to run our test on the biological sample. Engineers can choose to examine the metal instead, and tactical trained citizens probably headbutt it or something. I don't know.
Sure, use whatever you want. I remember what we found back on the outpost. Bring the samples to me when you're done, and I can help you determine the results.
Our results show that it's a engineered fungus combined with metals.
I've only seen fungal biotech like this once before. Remember that mining station that I mentioned? Before we arrived, they reported several disappearances. Some thought it was paranoia, but we had reports that said intruders would beam in right through the colony's magnetic shield, right into someone's quarters, sedate them, and then vanish without a trace. We didn't know what to believe, but I don't think those miners were paranoid. Something did happen to them, and it could happen again.
So you thought it was related to the beacon that you found at the time as well?
That's what my commander believed. We found a beacon with almost the same configuration as the one you found. We weren't able to get much from it before we shut it down. But the one thing we learned is that the beacon was made by a race that called themselves the Elachi. We stayed in orbit for a few days, but the Elachi never came back. That's good news for us, seeing that you disabled the beacon you found in the caverns.
This seems like the sort of thing your ex-captain and our Maori should know of.
That's right. He's the man in charge, so he needs to know. I'd be surprised if he doesn't want to send someone down there to analyze that beacon. Could be these Elachi were interested in our colony for some reason. Lucky for us, you were there to put a stop to whatever they were trying to do.
So these drones are a form of biotech that uses a fungus as its base? Spore, blimey. I think I get the mycologist of what he's saying. What an appalling idea. Stammits. Yeah, anyway, we find the Maori at the festival on the stage mingling with the townsfolk. Jolan True Maori Malem.
Jolan True. I heard Avrak yelling all the way over here. I'm sorry you had to deal with his problems on our day of celebration.
It's fine, but there's a strange beacon and some drones in the Kelid hive.
That does sound very mysterious. However, you seem to have taken care of the immediate problem, disabling this beacon and dispatching the drones. You have my thanks.
I presume it's round about here we fill him in on what Devek said too.
I'll assign some engineers to examine the device and set up surveillance on the cave as soon as possible. If what Devek says is true, we don't want that beacon turned on again. Now that's settled, why don't you try to relax for a while? Enjoy the festival. We'll talk again tomorrow after the engineers have finished their analysis of the device.
With that taken care of, we can call in to our friend Tovan.
Are you done for the day? I'm just finishing up too. I'm going to head back to the restaurant. Meet me for a drink when you're done.
This marks the end of our exploration of the colony. If we press continue now, we can never return.
Hey there. Long day? I can't believe how far this colony has come. Just look at how much we can accomplish without being ruled by the Tal Shiar. Word is someone named Atan is trying to fight them, but me, I'm content with what we have here. Let's go enjoy the festival.
Friends and neighbors, welcome to the tapping. The Kelid nectar has been harvested, the ale is brewed, and we can finally taste the fruits of our labors. And like this fine vintage, our colony has taken time and effort to develop. Since the loss of the homeworld 22 years ago, we have known fear, hunger, and pain. We have struggled, and we have overcome every difficulty. We have mourned those who are no longer with us, and we have welcomed new friends into our home. And now we celebrate. The trials are behind us. Virinat is prosperous and growing. We will face new challenges in the future, but we will face them together.
Hey, are you hurt? We're under attack. I don't know who or why, but people are being rounded up and we have to do something. I'll help Devex get the shuttles ready. You should find Navala and Vorian to help organize the militia. Get as many civilians to safety as you can. After that, we stop whoever or whatever is attacking our home.
Yeah, I found him. He's dead.
I'm at the shipyard with Devex, and we're prepping the shuttles for evacuation. I don't know what's going on here, but we need to get people out while we can. If you can get a rifle, you can fight your way out. Can you make it?
I'll make it. Just get the shuttles ready.
It's the Tal Shiar. We need to call for help. I don't know who'll answer, but we have to do something. I tried to send a distress signal. There's no transceiver array. We still have a chance, though. We need to deal with some of the Tal Shiar, then get a replacement back.
That doesn't look like any Romulan vessel I've ever seen, but Tovin says it's the Tal Shiar. Drones litter the night sky, made visible by the glow of the strange vessel, and every now and then one will swoop down and cart away an unfortunate victim. They appear to be trying to capture us alive. At least, some of us. Just minutes ago we were drinking ale, toasting our successes, and now this. Rifle in hand, we head through the dangerous streets, so welcoming just moments before. Disruptor fire streaks in the distance, green bolts, Romulans, but they're firing at us. Returning fire amidst the cacophony of bombardment, we take out our own kind.
They just keep coming! Get a battery from the marketplace. We need to send out a distress signal.
Charging ahead, flames have begun to spread through the wooden structures of our home as more Tal Shiar begin to beam in, trying to subdue the crowd. We open fire on them, getting the drop. In every corner of Virinat we can find cornered civilians, and we act to free them. But no matter how many we take down, more can beam in. Our people are scattered and panicked. The Tal Shiar are organised and relentless. It's all we can do to press on to try to find a power source for the communications hub and get a distress call out. Hopefully there'll still be somebody left by the time it's answered. Another bombardment starts, and each blast a signal that what we have built is being ripped apart. Reaching the marketplace, it is in tatters. Ripped canvas, overturned stools and collapsed pillars spread across the communal area. There are a number of points from which to obtain a battery. We make our choice, heading for the nearest one to our location. We fight our way through the fresh destruction to our target and remove the battery. All the while the flames rise and the acrid smoke thickens.
This is Cap. Do you have the batteries? You just need to repair the device and send the signal.
We down the security that was guarding the comms, a wise move stationing people here. Installing the new power source, we're able to send our call for aid.
The signal is strong. Get to the shipyard. We're getting out of here.
Remembering our way from our leisurely walk earlier, we find the shuttlecraft still there. Passing several down to Tal Shiar, we see that Tovan has been defending the vessel.
The shuttle is ready. They got as many people aboard as will fit. We have to go. They're not attacking. Devex showed me how to fly his warbird. We're almost there.
Devex's warbird, one of only a couple left to Virinat, floats idly amid the debris. We lost the majority of our colonists in the evacuation, but we have enough aboard our shuttle to hopefully crew this rustic piece of scrap.
Navigation is online, but we need some components to get our weapons and warp drive operational. We'll need both if we want to have any hope of fighting the Tal Shiar.
While we have a quiet moment, let's take stock. We made it to the D'era, Devex's old vessel, a retired 23rd century military warbird. Like most of the ships in this orbit, it was ready to be dismantled for parts to be used in the colony. We're going to have to re-salvage components from the hulks around us. As we escaped from the surface in our shuttle, the Tal Shiar must have thought us destroyed in the explosions of the others, but we won't remain unnoticed for long. We need to hurry, unless we want to join the rusted debris floating in this system. What happened on Virinat was a catalyst for the Romulan Republic, which is heavily involved in the next story arc of Star Trek Online. So before we tackle that as Captain Mark Hale and the crew of the USS Armiger, I thought it might be a good idea to flesh out the backstory of the Romulans displaced by their fractured empire. So the next part, I plan to continue the Romulans intro storyline through the eyes of VrinaTyral, a survivor of Virinat. This isn't going to be the start of a whole new series or anything, just a couple of videos to add context to the main narrative. But let me know how you want me to approach this. I could knock out the whole story series over the coming weeks, and then return to the Starfleet story arc, or I could bounce between the two, but I don't want to make it too confusing, as the events depicted take place approximately a month before Starfleet responds to Virinat, considering this is 2 weeks before the Borg invaded Vega colony. Jumping around between the two campaigns might get a little jarring, but I'd understand if you just wanted to see the Starfleet plot continue. Then again, Star Trek Online has this ever-expanding narrative that covers a variety of factions, all with their own unique introduction, so they are part of the bigger picture, and all tie together at various story points. So, thanks for joining me on this journey through the Trek universe, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, Jolan True.